So you're thinking of moving to Pueblo, Colorado. Today we're going to look at the map. We recently did just kind of like an under 300,000 to show you what's possible. So let's just take a look at kind of where those homes were. And then we're also going to just show you the generalized map of Pueblo. What can you expect in which areas? So we'll take a look at that, just kind of show you the different sides of town. Where's the airport? Where's the next biggest airport? Where the school's located? Where are the stores and all that good stuff. So let's jump inside the computer and see what that looks like. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know all there is to know about living in Pueblo, be sure to hit that subscribe button, click the little bell for notifications so you can stay up to date on all the latest market trends. Hi, I'm Krista. I'm a local realtor here in Pueblo, Colorado. I grew up in Pueblo since I was a little girl. I am a Colorado native, so you're in good hands on this channel when it comes to having a resource of somewhere to look when you need to know, what does the area look like? Where is this place located? What do the homes look like? What are we looking at price-wise? We're gonna give you all the details here on this channel, so be sure you're subscribed. And if you need help making a move to the area, or maybe you're already in the area and you just need help going from place to place, be sure to grab our contact information from the description box below. We would be happy to connect and help you make that a smooth transition. So anytime in the next, could be 10 days, could be 10 weeks, 10 months, it doesn't matter, a year from now, we're happy to connect anytime and answer any questions you might have. So reach out to us, and in the meantime, maybe we'll see you around Pueblo.
Okay, so we're inside the map, and if you watched our latest video, it was homes under 300,000 here in Pueblo. Let me familiarize you with just the kind of the main layout of Pueblo before we talk about specifically where were those homes located. So this is Pueblo, this whole area here. Whoop, we're just going to circle it. This is Pueblo, 111,000 people. They're saying it's going to grow about 6% over the next 5 years from 2025. So we've talked about Pueblo West. We've been there. We've talked about the Riverwalk, which is here down in downtown Pueblo. We've talked about the state fair that happens every year. We've talked about the different sides to Pueblo. So the different sides, you're going to have, like, the south side is right here. Obviously, you can see it's labeled west side here. You will have the north side up over here. Belmont is not really, I mean, it's on a side of Pueblo. Obviously, it's more towards what you see here, the east side, right? But Belmont's like its own little area. University is where our college is. And then we have Blend. When you start hitting this road right here, this is 50 business. Okay, there's Highway 50, and that's this road right here that goes to Pueblo West. And there's Business 50, which goes east, and that is going to take you out into Pueblo County where all the farms are. And the further you go out east, you're going to see a lot of farmland and vegetation, things like that. So you have Vineland, Avondale, which is, we've talked about that before. So all along here, you're going to see farms. We've got pumpkin patches. We've got, you know, people to grow chili and corn. And I mean, everything is out there, lots of vegetation, right? So Avondale is probably the furthest out before you get to a whole other town called Fowler, which, if you see Boone right here, Fowler is actually more east than Boone. So Avondale is kind of where that's like where it stops, where I'm like, okay, we're still in Pueblo, but we're not really in Pueblo. You start going more further east and you're kind of getting more so now outside of Pueblo limits. So let's just look. We have all the different sides, right? East side, west side, south side, north side, Pueblo West. Okay, so where we were is, we're just going to zoom in here. So we were kind of filming, one of the homes that we filmed was on Quincy Avenue. It's so funny because I know all of these streets really well until I start looking at a map, and then I'm like, wait, where is it? I think I have to zoom in a little bit more here. So where we were was kind of, I don't know why it's not showing up on here, but I will circle the area because it's all in the same area. It's kind of along this area right here. And we were actually saying that downtown was super close by. So you have Northern, and we saw the home on Northern that's right here off the main road. And then you go back here and you keep traveling further kind of north, and you will run into, it's so funny because it's kind of confusing. And if you've never been to Pueblo, I don't want to confuse you. Lincoln Street is actually the same as 4th Street, and it's actually the same as Thatcher Avenue. So yeah, it's interesting how streets will just kind of change the name as you're going along here, but it happens. But we saw a lot of homes that were all in this area right here. Some were even a little bit more probably back in this area, but it was all within a relatively close distance to downtown. Here's the fairgrounds. Okay, fairgrounds is kind of a good It's like a good marker. Okay, the fairgrounds is right here. We were kind of back here where you see the mansion labeled, and then the El Pueblo History Museum, the Arkansas Riverwalk, which you can see all the water here from the Riverwalk. So this is kind of all this is right here is the downtown area. Limited downtown area. It's small compared to Springs and Denver. It's a lot smaller, but so it's pretty easy to see on the map in just one little circle here. So this is the downtown area, and where we saw homes were right over here. So pretty close to the central part of Pueblo. And if you know anything about Pueblo, you know that once you're downtown, it's pretty much a straight 15 minutes this way, this way, this way, or this way, kind of any side of town, unless you're going to Avondale. Avondale is a little bit more further out. So is Pueblo West. You're going to be 15 minutes, 20 to 25, depending on how far west or east you're going. And obviously, if you get out of Pueblo, I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's going to be 45 minutes to Springs, and then about an hour and a half, 2 hours to Denver, although the traffic has massively increased there in the last couple of years. So if you're going to Denver, a 5-minute drive can be a 30-minute stretch. It just depends on the time of day. So where we were, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here because to me, I like to see the bigger picture because I think that it helps you guys as well to just kind of see like where in conjunction is everything. So let's talk about I-25, which is our main corridor. I-25 goes all the way through Pueblo. And the great thing is you've got exits to Lincoln, which is also 4th Street. Okay. You've got exits to 13th Street, which can run you down to 4th Street. You've got an exit to 29th Street, which is up by Pueblo Mall. And then if you continue north, we've actually got some development that has happened in the last several years. So we do have a Sam's Club out there. Right out by the Sam's Club, it's like a Texas Roadhouse restaurant. And then there's lots of developing going on over here in the Dillon Drive area. So there's new shops. We have Dick's Sporting Goods is out there. There's a Kohl's out there, a Sephora, an Ulta. I believe DSW Shoes are out there. And then they've also created just recently a new travel center. So there's a travel center just up the road, right? I don't even think it's on, I think it would be somewhere right around here. And so there's a travel center there where you have Bojangles, Del Taco, you know, some of those chain restaurants up. Black Bear Diner is up there. They're going to try and propose to Buc-ee's, which if you are from Texas or anywhere in, I feel like the South, you know Buc-ee's, and they're actually proposing to try and get a Buc-ee's here because we have lots and lots of land as you head out of Pueblo going up into Colorado Springs. Let me just show you here. So if you leave Pueblo, you're headed up I-25 here. Fountain is like the beginning outskirts of Colorado Springs, and this is Colorado Springs right here. So they're trying to get Buc-ee's to come in here. But as you can see, I mean, this area right here is all developed more on the north end of I-25. There's even a road that actually, and I believe it's this one right here when I'm zoomed out, that goes from Pueblo West into 25. It actually goes on the outskirts of Pueblo West, and then it comes back in, it cuts into I-25. So you can get on I-25 if you're further north into Pueblo West, if you're on what would be the north side of Highway 50. So if you're on the north side of Highway 50, you can actually take a road that goes I believe it's Platteville, that goes all the way into an exit that gets right on the highway from 25. That's if you're kind of tucked back in Pueblo West and you don't want to head back into town to then go up 50 and 50 over to I-25. So the nice thing is, what I'm trying to say here is that, especially if you've never been to Pueblo, I don't want to confuse you, but it's very easy. 25 is just all the way up, in Colorado, it's just all the way up. So it goes through Colorado Springs. It eventually hits Denver. It goes down to, if you're going down this way, it goes to Colorado City, it goes to Walsenburg. And then Highway 50, which when you get into like Boone and Avondale and everything is Business 50. But Highway 50 will go to Pueblo West, and it will also go over here to Cañon City. Cañon City is where the Royal Gorge is, which a lot of people like to travel to for outdoor activities such as zip lining. There's horseback riding there. There's gold mining there. There's all kinds of fun stuff there, or gold panning, I should say, not really mining. You're not going to go in a mine, but you can also hit Highway 9. The nice thing about that is Highway 9 will actually take you all the way up over to Fairplay and Alma, and then you can hit Breckenridge and Frisco and Dillon. So it's about 2.5 hours from Pueblo. Cañon City here is our next little city over to the west, past Pueblo West, and that's going to be about 30 minutes from Pueblo West from the first exit. It's about 45 if you're more towards the center of Pueblo, or even on the east side of Pueblo. It's about 45 minutes, but it's the same thing to go to Colorado Springs, which is one of the nice things. It's just a 45-minute drive if you want to go up towards where there's a bigger airport. So Pueblo does have its own airport. It's a municipal airport. It's a little bit smaller. You'll see it here on the map. I can say in this past year, just alone, they have done, they've set up charter flights to be able to fly from here on a major airline. I'm not sure which airline it is, but it's a major airline that goes from Pueblo to Denver. And that way you have that connecting flight. You don't have to drive up to the Springs, leave your car and all that good stuff. But if you want to go to Springs, you want some more options, obviously there's a little bit more options there. I think Southwest flies out of there, potentially American Airlines, Delta, and that you can see it right here. It's clear as day on the map. From here to Pueblo, probably about 45 minutes, because I believe you can cut over from Fountain and get into the Springs Airport without hitting a lot of traffic. So it's probably about 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends on traffic on I-25 especially. Occasionally I-25 gets a little busy. But if you need a major international airport, Colorado Springs is considered like, it's bigger than Pueblo. It's not just a municipal airport, but it's not Denver International. So Denver International is about, we're just going to go up here and you can see very large and in charge here on the map, Denver International Airport. That's going to be like 2 hours from Pueblo. It's a decent drive. And if you don't want to pay tolls, you actually have to go decently towards Denver and then cut over on I-70 here to get to the airport. So it's a decent drive, 2 hours. You can shave a little time off if you take 470. So 470 is here, but that is a toll road. The nice thing about it though is it is less traffic. Over the years, it's gotten a little bit more busy, but it is less traffic overall if you're looking to get to Denver International. So Denver is about 2, I would say Denver International about 2 to 2.5. The traffic has just really changed in the last few years alone, even since I moved from Denver. I used to live up in Castle Rock, which is south of Denver, quite a few years. And then I lived in Aurora for a little while. And I would say even since then, in the last 5 years or so, traffic has just changed. It's increased significantly. So one of the nice things that people like about Pueblo, we just discovered we can double click on Pueblo and look at that. It actually, we're sitting over here using the Zoom and you learn something new every day. You can just double click and it goes right to it. So anyway, we come back to Pueblo, and one of the nice things is you're getting a city vibe without the large amount of population that really does cause it to be challenging sometimes if you're living in Springs or Denver, because the traffic there, you have to leave extra early and you're definitely in the mix of quite a few people. The population is probably 3, 4, and 5 times. Well, Denver is way more than 5 times greater than Pueblo, but Pueblo gives you enough of a large city feel, but without that overwhelmingness. And it still has it's not super large city. It actually feels more small town community. So the nice thing about that is definitely the traffic. We appreciate that in rush hour, it's tolerable. And then outside of rush hour, clear roads. It's very nice. So let's talk about where we filmed in that under 300,000. So we were really, and I'm going to keep the map kind of zoomed out so we can just look as a whole at the area, but we were kind of in this area. We didn't go as far as the Riverwalk, so we'll just kind of X that out. We were more kind of over here. We saw a little bit over here. Well, we did see one home over here. And then the other home that was on Fairfield, it was a home, Fairfield Lane. So that was actually back in this area here. So a little more tucked back on the south side of Pueblo. It was not towards the center part of Pueblo, but it was a large home. It was 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet. And I think the asking price was $270 or something in that area. So you can get a very decent sized house back there for under $300,000. So that's where we were filming the other day. And, we have large restaurants here. You can see Olive Garden, we've got Albertsons, we've got Sam's Club. Our river walk is very popular, especially in the summer, for people to sit outside and walk the shops. There's lots of shops along the river walk. Colorado State Fair is lit up in August when the fair comes. And they also have stuff there throughout the year that's just a little bit smaller. It's also a voting place when there's an election. They will have, 4-H things that go on there, rodeos that go on there, concerts occasionally. So it does stay, decently active outside the fair. They host graduations there at the event center. So it does stay decently active, but the state fair is definitely, that's where it's at when it's all lit up for the fair specifically. It's pretty big deal for about a week and a half. So that's where the state fair is, more close to the south side, but northern. You're gonna take this all the way back. It runs through, we've actually filmed this community before, El Camino. It's one of the more sought after communities here. So we filmed back there before. This road is supposed to be the new home of Jellystone Park, which is the Yogi Bear Park. It's a water park, it's an RV park, glamping, camping, cabins. I say glamping because you got the cabins, and that's basically the same as glamping to me. So little mini cabins. So that's supposed to be setting up here back in this area. I don't think they have the exact site mapped out yet. But we are, like I said, proposing a Buc-ee's to come here. We're sending something to Buc-ee's to say, hey, you should consider Pueblo. They tried to build up in the Springs, actually north of Springs, in between Springs and Denver, in a place called Palmer Lake. There's been a lot of controversy up there around it because Palmer Lake is a very small town. They didn't want all the touristy stuff, the traffic, the rebuild. They didn't want any of that stuff. So they're going to propose Pueblo, which would be really fun, especially if you love Buc-ee's like I do. It's basically like an adult Disneyland. So it doesn't take much to get me excited over here about little things like that. But so you can see a good layout of Pueblo here. Like I said, east side is over here. And the nice thing about Pueblo too, they don't lack in options for schooling. Pretty much have schools all throughout the city on every side of town, including Pueblo West. Pueblo West is where District 70 is located. District 70 actually in the ratings is higher than District 60. So there's quite a few options out there. Pueblo West High School, Swallows Academy, Skyview, I believe is one of the elementary schools out there. But there's lots of schools out in Pueblo West, so you don't have to travel in if you don't want to. There's lots of schools on the south side. In fact, within relatively close proximity, plenty of options there. East side has a high school over there as well. And there's some schools that are kind of tucked back in here. Heritage Elementary is over here. And there's even, I believe it's Connect Charter Academy is downtown. So pretty much everywhere in Pueblo, they even have stuff out here in the university area. I think it's called Vita Bella or Villa Bella. The name is escaping me in this moment. Obviously, you could probably look it up, but basically there are schools everywhere along in Pueblo. You're not going to have a shortage of options for schools here. So you might want to definitely look up the different school districts in Pueblo just to see the ratings and everything like that. I don't have all that information today for you. We have covered some of it in other videos, but we're not really talking about that today, so I don't have that information, but you will have an option to have plenty of schools no matter where you're located in Pueblo. So as far as this area right here, like kind of newness and whatnot, this area was built late 90s. This was more established, and then you can actually come here on the south side and go over. We filmed a place called Domega before. That's right back here, and that's a mix of, I mean, they're still building homes back there, but I think that they started probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. So you have some newer construction back there. Pueblo West is really where they continue to always build new construction. There's some new construction going on the north side, but Pueblo's been a very established place. The south side, east side, Belmont, lower east side, west side, north side is probably like, that was really the guts of Pueblo back in the day, especially downtown. Downtown, you can actually find homes. We just walked through one I mentioned it earlier, on Quincy, and it was built in 1904. So they are very well established because it was kind of like the original coming up of Pueblo and the original foundation of Pueblo, all these areas that I'm circling. So there are new construction worked into these different areas, but they're kind of, Domega, for instance, they have brand new homes that are popping up in between the other homes that were built in the last 10 years or so. So it's kind of a mix back there. We always say, look at the trees, because the trees will tell you if they're really mature, that home's been there a minute. And obviously if the trees are a lot newer and the home looks newer, because obviously you could, I mean, I have an older home and I could plant a new tree. It doesn't mean that my home is new, right? But if you see a home that looks relatively new, I mean, you can tell the difference. And there's a newer tree all around, like everybody's got the same like small trees. You kind of know, right, that like that's a newer area. Another thing to look out for when you are home searching, check for power lines. Just see, are they in the backyard? Are they above ground, underground? Makes a difference. It makes a difference when people are also purchasing for resale values. So something to also consider when searching. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an overview of Pueblo as a whole. I mean, we're not lacking here. There's stores on pretty much, well, there's a store over here. There's a King Supers there. There's a King Supers over here on this side. You've got Albertsons right over here. And then Sam's Club is right here on the, oh, sorry, there's an Albertsons there. Missed that circle. And then Sam's Club is not far from the Albertsons. As you can see, I mean, plenty of chain restaurants. There are a lot of locally owned places to appreciate in Pueblo for restaurant options. Lots of Mexican food and green chili. If you're from Colorado, boy, do you know about green chili, and it's almost like we can't live without it. I lived in Florida one time and remember asking for if they had any green chili at a Mexican restaurant, and they looked at me like I had five heads because it's just not, it's not something that they're like, what do you mean? Like a green chili, like a pepper. I mean, it was just so funny. So, but there's lots of green chili here in Pueblo, lots of Mexican restaurants, Italian restaurants, locally owned. So plenty of options, plenty of opportunity here. And especially for business owners, small business owners love Pueblo because there is so much opportunity here to really stand out. So this is what it looks like here. As you can see, Pueblo is not Denver. This is it. This is it on the map. And we have really relatively four sides of town, with Pueblo West being its own little up and coming city out there. And then you have the county. So it's pretty cut and dry. Lots of things to offer though. There's vendor markets in the summer. Like I said, there's the state fair, there's the Chili's cook-off. There's local rivalry games between the high schools. There's one called the Canon game that happens in usually September, where they are Pueblo South and Pueblo East High School battle it out for a cannon that actually does still shoot off when they score a touchdown. It's pretty cool. So that's like your prize when you win, is the cannon. And then there's also the old tradition of the bell game between Central and Centennial Bulldogs. So Central Wildcats, Centennial Bulldogs. They, if you're on their football team, they have a game, a rivalry game, where you battle it out for a large bell, and it's always painted the color of the school. So there's lots of fun things going on in Pueblo, you know, to appreciate. It is a smaller town if you like that sort of thing, or maybe you just want a smaller town to relax in and be close enough to, you know, the larger cities, which we just showcased here. And you can see this is like a good representation right here. That's not that far. I mean, it's like 45 minutes. And then as you get up towards the north end of Springs, it does become more of like an hour right about here. I know because I travel there often. And then if you head up from Springs to Denver, we can give you that picture here. It's probably about an hour and a half to downtown Denver, mostly because of traffic. I mean, that doesn't look like that far, but the traffic it'll slow you down and it'll take you a minute. And then if you wanted to go up north, if you're familiar with the colleges up there, you know, the Loveland, Fort Collins area, that's going to be another hour and a half north of Denver. So Fort Collins, Loveland, there's colleges up there. CSU is up in Fort Collins. If you're going to Boulder, CU Boulder is right there. So all of this, I mean, Fort Collins from here, I believe is close to about 3 hours from here. I should know this because I go to the Buc-ee's quite often. That's right about here. It's in Johnstown. So I feel like I should know this, but yeah, it's about 3 hours, I think. And then Boulder is a good 2.5. So Denver's probably more like 2. Boulder's 2.5, because I'm pretty sure it takes about 2.5 to get to Boulder. But the cool thing is what I showed you earlier, just to finish up here, if you want to get, because see, if you could go to Breckenridge right here, right? I personally, I mean, there's a lot of people that ski. I personally like Breckenridge, but I mean, Frisco, Silverthorne, Keystone, Dillon's back here. I don't know why it's not showing on the map, but all of this is really popular ski area, right? And usually you have to take I-70 and go through the tunnels and the ups and the downs and Idaho Springs. And it's, if you're from Colorado, you know, I-70 is very challenging. Lots of traffic. They're doing lots of construction right now that's making it even worse. There's lots of weather, icy roads. Like it's a challenge. So if you can skip that, even better. And if you're living in Pueblo, you can. because you can actually take the back way of Highway 9 from Cañon City. So that's kind of a nice little thing to appreciate, is you can take this all the way over into Cañon City and then right back into Pueblo. And it's honestly, I mean, it's better than going up to Denver and over I-70. I think it saves you some time and it cuts out all of the traffic. So this has been a little taste of Pueblo today. I wanted to give you guys a taste of the map. So if you're thinking of moving here, you're not from here, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is in the description box below. So grab it, send us a text, give us a call. We'll be happy to connect with you anytime. And in the meantime, maybe we'll see you around Pueblo.